working to address the economic impact of climate change. I'm Jill Horner. This is ComCast Newsmakers. With me is the Honorable Andrew Younger. He's the Minister of Environment for the province of Nova Scotia. Thanks so much for being with us.
It's great to be here.
We're here on location in Wilmington, Delaware at the Council of State Governments, where ideas are being shared, best practices are being shared, but you're focused on environmental issues in many different ways. You are the Minister of Environment, and you say as a province, this is something that you've really been focused on, particularly in terms of renewable energies, for example. But here at this conference, talk to us a little bit about the issues that you're discussing. You're working to share best practices and ideas, but what's the purpose of this? What kinds of information is being exchanged with other states and other provinces?
Well, one of the big things we're working on is to talk about how we address climate change. Obviously, internationally, there is a big meeting coming up in New York with New England states and some of the Canadian provinces, including Nova Scotia, and we're talking about how we address the issue of climate change while at the same time ensuring that the economy can keep going. And that can be a challenge, but we're trying, if we can come to some sort of agreement and partnerships between Canada and the US as we head towards Paris, the Paris negotiations in December, we'll have a foot forward that'll be a lot stronger for us.
And that's part of the conversation here, but you're also talking about some specific issues as well, related to the environment and how it relates to economic conditions. You are talking about some of the things in your own province and bringing that to bear. For example, in Ontario, you say that they've completely phased out coal plants. That's something that you are working toward as a province. At this point, you are 40% renewable?
Yeah, we're working towards 40% renewable energy in our province. We're just over 25 now, and part of that is reducing our reliance on fossil fuels. We have a lot more wind energy. We're moving away from coal, although coal will certainly be part of our mix for decades to come. It'll be more of a peaking use, and we're trying to do that in a way that doesn't harm ratepayers, so that we don't see that cost come all at once. And that's something we're also trying to partner on the grid with New England and to try and have similar processes in place for dealing with electricity and ratepayers.
But when you implement renewables, how do you do that in an economically feasible way, as you mentioned, for ratepayers, as you bring new power plants online, as you work to implement renewables? How do you do it in an economically feasible way?
Well, one of the things you have to do is you have to wait till the power plants have reached the end of their life. So we don't phase out coal plants until they have come to the end of their life. We bring on renewables and other, for instance, wind farms at the same time. We put them out for bidding, like a public bidding process, and we've managed to get some very competitive rates. And in fact, one of our wind farms in Nova Scotia is producing energy at cheaper than the price of coal. So it can be done.
What about other forms of renewables? Obviously, one of the debates in this region has been related to the extraction of natural gas as a resource. Is that been a debate in Canada as well, related to natural gas and the cost benefits of natural gas, both as a resource in terms of the extraction and as a product?
Well, we have great natural gas resources offshore Nova Scotia, and obviously we're looking to tap into the Marcellus shales, and I know fracking is a major debate around that. One of the things you need to do is find ways to capture the fugitive emissions. But there are many people here talking about the idea of maybe it's a transitional fuel because it's cleaner than many other sources like coal, heavy furnace oils. But natural gas is going to play a role in that renewable mix, even as a backup energy source in some cases.
Why is it so important to be at a conference like this with state legislators from the United States and other leaders from Canada?
Well, Canada is a very large country, and a lot of our closest links are actually with our New England neighbors. We do a lot of trade, we do a lot of business with New York and Maine and Massachusetts and really all of the New England area and Northeast. But what's really important is that we need to harmonize some of our regulations, make sure they work in partnership. We have gas pipelines that cross the border, we have electricity transmission, and quite frankly, anything that's done here in terms of pollution or emissions impacts us, just as anything that happens that we do impacts New England. And we're all facing the same things like the superstorms, the hurricanes, the change in weather. We're all in that same area. We might be two different countries, but we're also very closely linked.
Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
We've been talking with the Honorable Andrew Younger. He's the Minister of Environment for the province of Nova Scotia. I'm Jill Horner on location in Wilmington, Delaware.